you very much, and thanks everyone for taking the time out of your busy schedules to spend time with us this morning, especially our friends and colleagues from the Korean embassy and from our friends onshore in South Korea. We really do appreciate it. So, my comments today, I'd like to keep them relatively crisp to give more time for Q&A and discussion. And my comments will be a little bit more narrowly focused, specifically on the U.S. angle, just to keep that parameterized and crisp. So basically, what I'd like to talk about briefly is the strategic effects of COVID-19 and looking at some of the phase transitions or the strategic shifts in planning and the implications that this will likely have to have for American vaccine development and diplomacy in the Asia-Pacific region. So just a couple things just to review kind of what's happened over the past year or so and provide some context, and just to look at the net effects of COVID-19 on the American system more broadly. I think one thing to bear in mind is that during the most acute phases of the pandemic in mid-2020, U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups, USS Theodore Roosevelt and the USS Ronald Reagan, had to be withdrawn from the Asia-Pacific due to COVID-19 infection risks. This is something which was quite substantial at the time. And statistically speaking, in terms of historical track record, these withdrawals coincided with a statistical increase in Chinese strategic activities in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, as a purely factual matter. And while the final epidemiological figures are still being adjudicated, it does look like American fatalities from COVID-19 are likely higher than those incurred by American troops during the entire Vietnam War, which is quite substantial if you pause to reflect on that for a minute. Given the economic cost of COVID-19, it clearly destabilized the Trump presidency, and available evidence suggests that this was one of the primary reasons for his election loss. There are other factors, there are other issues, as some of our other colleagues have discussed in depth, but this definitely played a contributing role. And I think it's not controversial to suggest that these lessons